Hello, movie nerds, and welcome back to Cinematic Sarcastic, the podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we are going to talk about the Fallout series. Now, I will say this one isn't going to be so much a review as it's going to be just me talking about the series and hoping all of the movie nerds out there can help me with some of the questions that I have. So there will probably be pretty heavy spoilers in this episode, and it might be a longer episode. So if you have not watched the full Fallout series yet, I would stop the episode right here and come back after you've watched all of the episodes of the series. So to start off, I would say that I have sampled Fallout, the video game, but I certainly have not played it. I think I played it for maybe an hour or 2 hours. I know I made it to like the first city that you find yourself in, and I remember there being like maybe rat dogs or some sort of radiated creature that would attack you like on the road as you were walking. But beyond that, I don't really remember much, and I never got that far into playing the games. I did sort of start Fallout and then never did finish Fallout. So when I sat down to watch the television series, I was approaching it completely from the perspective of not really knowing anything about the story, anything about the characters, and all that kind of thing. So as far as my review of Fallout would go, I would say 10 out of 10. I have no idea what's going on, but I'm having a heckin' good time and would watch again. Like I'm very invested in some of the characters on here, and the television show definitely makes me want to go back and like try and play the game again just to sort of get more information about some of these characters, though that's sort of where you guys come in, I guess. So I'm not sure if this is similar to the episode I did with Arcane, where the TV series or that cartoon series was not really anything like the video game that it's based off of. Like they did completely different stories for the characters and set it up differently, and there wasn't really backstories and things of that nature. So I'm hoping you guys will know some of this information, and if it's not the same or you guys are not familiar with some of the characters, then at least you can let me know that these are new characters and that I shouldn't like dive down the rabbit hole on the internet. So right out of the gate, I guess my first question after watching the entire series would be, we all understand that Maximus is a psychopath, right? Like we're on the same page that Maximus is a psychopath, because I feel like the show is sort of painting him in this light of being a hero. Obviously, he has some romantic connection with Lucy, and I'm very confused by why that is, because I feel like Maximus will kill literally anyone. And so I don't understand, unless Lucy is just one of those types of girls that has really terrible taste in men, because the first time that we're really introduced to her, she was sleeping with the raider, from the surface, who not a great guy. So I don't know if she just prefers men that maybe are horrible, but it struck me as a little bit odd that she was so judgmental and sort of torn up by what had happened with her dad, but doesn't seem to care about finding out much information about what Maximus is doing or has done. Like, I guess in the way that I am viewing it, of like, if you're finding out about the surface and you're finding out about these people for the first time, why would you be so trusting, especially considering pretty much everyone around her turns out to be a pretty horrible human being. So you'd think she'd just be a little bit more contemplative maybe about who she wants to make out with. But I don't know if that's just me or if I'm like reading too much into it or thinking about it too much. But the Maximus's character just in general with Knight Titus and all of that stuff, I could take him or leave him. But I have heard a few people talking about the actor that plays Maximus and saying that, if we need to recast the Kang character, that he would be perfect for that. And I feel like I'm kind of on that train because I do not like him in the Fallout series. And I think he would do well as playing like one of those crazy, not good kind of characters. And I think that would work, you know? But as far as like Maximus, I could take him or leave him. Lucy, I enjoy just because I like her perspective, but I feel like there are certain characters in this show that I either want like a spin-off series of, or I hope that they get more time in a season 2. And I cannot like wrap my head around the idea of Fallout not having a season 2. Like the show for me was so compelling and so interesting and like such a fun watch that I like need to know. They can't leave it where it is. Like I need to know what's going on. And I think for me, like the real standout characters would have to be Cooper Howard and Norm. Norm, I'm wholeheartedly invested in. I need him to get out of Vault 31. I need him to like be an overseer, or at least be someone that sort of leads that charge to sort of taking over Moldaver's spot maybe, and like building a better community, because I feel like him and Lucy together would be great at that. But I feel like Norm kind of has that gumption, if you will, to like lead the people of the vaults into a better direction, if that's something that they want to do as far as like going onto the surface. I will say there are a couple of things in the show that I don't quite understand. Like I don't quite understand the time frame or how Cooper Howard, like I understand he is like a ghoul. I guess I don't understand how certain characters have the longevity that they do. And maybe that just wasn't explained, or I missed it in the series itself. Like I do understand that, you know, the 200 years ago, all of the scientists and stuff and that were part of the company had frozen themselves in order to sort of be released over time to steer everything in the right direction. But I guess I don't understand, like, for instance, how Moldaver is still alive, because she seemed like she was someone that was on the opposite side. And so I don't get how maybe she is still living all this, like all these years later. I don't understand how the mother, like Lucy and Norm's mother, was still alive. Like I'm very confused about some of that stuff. So if you guys know, let me know what parts I'm missing. Because I feel like even though the show did give you a lot and it showed you a lot from the past and a lot that's obviously happening currently, there are some details that just don't quite make sense to me, especially with Cooper Howard. Like, even though I understand, you know, his wife is invested in all of that stuff, he was with his daughter in that episode, The Past. I think it was that episode. Or maybe it was like one previous to that, the first episode. But I know he was with his daughter when like the bombs dropped and stuff. So did he get to the bunker in time? How did he end up out of the bunker? And he's searching for his family. So I'm assuming they're in the bunker. Like I'm assuming his wife and daughter are in 31. But it sort of seems like he would then also be in 31. I'm just confused maybe how Cooper ended up a ghoul and his family, you know, ended up somewhere else. Like they don't really explain that too much in the series. And then I don't understand like Betty, like the Betty that was his wife's assistant is the Betty that is the person in charge of 33 now, right? Like that's the same Betty. Like, I don't know. I feel like there are so many questions in this show, but it's also a testament to how great the show is that I care enough about these characters that I really want to know more about their backstories and more about how we got here. And potentially I do understand maybe I have to just play all of the Fallout games to understand more of the show, because I do feel like I'm missing a lot of the major details and some of the minor ones that might make the show a little bit more enjoyable. So I will say that for sure. I do understand that everyone who seems to be very familiar with the games and has like really played the games and are invested in them really like the series. But I think if you do not know the games very well, like me, I think the show is still absolutely a win. I don't think I have sat down and been that invested in a TV series that I wasn't that familiar with right out of the gate. Like I made it a point to make the time to sit down and watch the entire series. And I know the like creator, the showrunner of Fallout, has been all over social media talking about how shitty it is that like the entire series was dropped all at the same time and people should have to wait, a week between episodes. But if I'm completely honest, because I wasn't familiar or as familiar with the Fallout games, I don't know that I would have been as invested in the series or gotten as invested into it if I hadn't been able to actually sit and watch them one after another and sort of get more of that character time. Like, I think if I had watched the first episode and then if it was a week until the second episode came out, I probably would have forgotten about it. Like, I probably wouldn't have been as invested because it took me a couple of episodes to really get into it and really figure out like, okay, who are my favorite characters? What's going on in this world? Where are we? What time is it? I did get kind of confused with the timeline of the show because I don't know if it's just I need to rewatch the series from start to finish again and kind of try and pick up the little things that I might have missed watching it the first go round. But like the city that Maximus grew up in, for instance, I didn't understand the time frame of that, of them dropping bombs there, because I had thought that they had dropped bombs, when Cooper Howard was with his daughter. So did they do it twice? I guess I don't understand. Like, I do know Lucy's dad obviously did one, but would that not have damaged more things? I'm a little confused on that kind of timeline. So again, whatever information you guys have on Fallout, or if you can point me to like a wiki page, or if there is some of that backstory to, I'm hoping it's not like Arcane and I am just gonna have to suck it up and wait for season 2, but I'm really like invested in wanting to know as much as I can so that I can sit down and watch the series again and kind of piece things together a little bit better. I've tried to kind of Google, like the characters in the Fallout games, and to me, it sort of looks like they are completely different. And maybe I'm just looking in the wrong spaces, but I could have sworn, they were the Fallout games were supposed to be exactly like the Fallout show. So I don't know if I'm just looking in all the wrong spots or just not aware of where to look. But if you guys have any information about Fallout, help a girl out. Like, help me figure out what's going on, because I feel like I'm going to have to watch the show at least one more time all the way through, maybe 2 more times all the way through to kind of get some stuff, because I really do not understand like what's going on in Vault 4. I sort of assumed that Cooper Howard and his family were going to be in Vault 4, but it seems like Vault 31 is where all of the company people were. So I'm sort of confused by that. I'm confused by why Vault 4 has all of those people that have mutations, why they're opening their doors if like Vault 33 and 31 and 32 are not allowed to open the doors to outsiders. A lot of that stuff is very confusing to me. And I don't know if it's just the different factions of the company run by different rules. And so that's why Vault 4 is doing all of these experiments, but 33 isn't. I don't know. I feel like there has to be something going on. Something's happening there, but yeah, so those are really kind of my questions, my thoughts around Fallout. If you guys can help me out or point me in the right direction, I would very much appreciate it. I definitely love the show, so I want to kind of clue myself in a little bit more on it. And if the best thing is just to play the games, please let me know if that's the case, and I will figure out how to get through the games to get myself caught up. But yeah, loving Fallout. Think it's great. Think it's a heck of a good time. I really enjoyed it a lot. So those are my thoughts on the Fallout series. I would love to know what you guys think of this series. Subscribe if you want to join the Movie Nerd family, and I hope to see you in the next episode.